I'm going to be whining a lot in this video, so pardon me. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, you understand that I do not tend to make this kind of content, but when we go into this content, you will really understand why I kind of have this feeling that I have right now. See, it's not a particularly good time for the used IT hardware market. Talking about desktop PCs, laptops like this one here. This is a Dell Latitude 5520 15.6 inches decent notebook. Not a particularly good time because take a look at what's happening in the world right now. We have a very bad combination of rising cost of IT hardware, talking about SSDs, RAM sticks, even the hardware itself, the laptop, the used laptops, the used desktop PCs, the used monitors. The prices are at an all-time high. I do not know what is happening. I've never had it so rough in terms of prices skyrocketing with no hope in sight that they will ever come back to normal. I tried to buy a 32 gigabyte of DDR4 RAM. I was shocked that this thing is not proving to become cheap anytime soon. For 299 euros, this was the least I could see on one of my regular supplier sites that I tend to use. Of course, these prices have been very, very high in the past. We've already become used to it for well over 6 months now. The prices have refused to budge, to come down. It has just become kind of the norm. We've been buying for there about 279 euros, and we are kind of used to it already. But just yesterday, I tried to upgrade this PC because I need to slot in a 32 gigabyte of DDR4 RAM on this PC because I feel like this is where this PC should be. 16 gigabytes pretty much is not doing the work, and I just checked online and I was shocked beyond words to realize that this 32 gigabyte of DDR4 RAM has suddenly become 299 euros, and I'm telling you, with the holidays in sight, definitely it might even become more expensive. As that's not enough, take a look at the cost of hard drive. Sorry, this thing is kind of disturbing me. Just going to push it on the side. Yes, take a look at the cost of hard drives. 1 terabyte of NVMe SSDs selling for as much as 169 euros. This is not even the Samsung or the Crucials or these are just basic models, basic SSD hard drive that we used to buy for so cheap long time ago. They have become very, very expensive. I see that's not enough, because in the beginning of this video, I did talk about the fact that there's a twin combination of rising cost of SSDs as well as a decrease in the household income. Guys, people are losing their job. I'm not telling you just to make you panic. If you take a look at YouTube, you see that major companies are doing away with their workers. And when that happens, the household income becomes smaller and people are not thinking of buying very expensive stuff anymore. For the used market where people used to come and kind of pick up some good stuff, right now it's not even business as usual because if the hardware that needs to be on these devices are becoming so expensive and the purchasing power of these households is becoming smaller and smaller, you now have a situation where everybody's just taking a look. You have used hardware in the market. Nobody is showing interest to buy them. And people are constantly looking for where it is cheapest to just buy. And that brings me exactly to what I'm going to be talking about today. Because if everything has not become the way they are, SSD very expensive, RAM sticks very expensive, you do not have enough money to buy the expensive notebooks that you used to boast of. You're talking about the 700, the 800 euro, notebooks. You are going to be looking at cutting costs, buying hardware that will give you the same level of power as those expensive, hardware. And when I take a look at this laptop here, I kind of feel like, if you are actually feeling the heat right now, you are telling yourself, I don't see myself actually spending so much right now on a notebook. I'm going to tell you that the Dell Latitude 5520, exactly what I have here. This is the touch version, which tells you that look, you can actually with your finger go ahead and manipulate this laptop. But then if you are a mouse person, pretty much you can do that as well. This is something that you can actually think of getting right now. The fact that it is cheap on the hardware money shop doesn't make it in any way a less quality notebook. As a matter of fact, the Dell Latitude 55 series have actually been proven, they've been tested, they've been built very ruggedly. And this one that I see right here is one decent notebook. I really do feel that you might be considering getting, if you are really like feeling the heat right now, the heat I talked about. You want a notebook that actually has a 16 gigabyte of DDR4 RAM already installed, 512 gigabytes of NVMe SSD installed, USB-C port, not one but two. Take a look at the other side. You have a HDMI port, a LAN port right there, and you also got USB 3.1 port. See, this is what I think you might want to consider right now. Money is getting very hard to come by. Those that still have this money, they are trying to keep it, trying to make sure that they buy exactly what they need for life. Nobody wants to now spend money for something that's not going to last, because right now, if you have as much as 300, 400 or 500 euro to splash on a notebook, you want to be sure that you are buying something that's going to be worth the while, not something that is going to fall from your hand and the next thing you know is broken. You do not want that right now, because like I said, things are getting a little bit tricky. Even the job loss that we are currently experiencing right now, that might possibly not be the end, because AI is proving to be very unstoppable. It's very possible that in the coming months, we're going to be seeing even major changes that might disrupt a lot of things. Changes that might even disrupt the secondary market. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the secondary market, that is where these hardwares, coming out from organizations tend to stay. They stay there for pretty much a long time. And if you go to the major marketplaces, they have a lot of them. Talking about eBay, Amazon, the hardware money shop, there are a lot of these hardwares there waiting for people like you and I to come and buy them. With the rising prices of these items, SSDs, RAM sticks, keyboards, even the hardware itself, I'm telling you, pretty much sooner or later, we might be having a situation where the secondary market that used to be the place where everybody runs to just to save costs might cease to exist. It might be now referred to as a different kind of market where things from nowhere overnight just became very expensive. Like I said, I'm going to be whining a lot because I also have an online shop where I have a lot of these items warehoused. Because of the decrease in the household income that we are experiencing and the fact that these items are becoming very expensive to get, we are also experiencing a major traffic in the items that are being sold. Of course, we are not just alone. The major marketplaces, they are also experiencing this. But if you are still that one person that feel like, yes, my laptop is broken because of it, a laptop or a desktop PC or a monitor is something that you just cannot do without. You need it to apply for the job in the first place. You need it to prepare your CV. You need it to write an email, asking for a potential employer to employ you. You just cannot do without it. So if you are that one person that still thinks, okay, I really do think I need something like this, I'm going to go ahead and search for a decent laptop. I'm telling you, a Latitude 5520 will not disappoint you. I have used it myself, and I can tell you that the quality is right there. And the fact that this particular model has a touchscreen pretty much might be something that might be of interest to you. Take advantage of the fact that we have these laptops right now very cheap on the hardware money shop. Take a look at it. You might be lucky to snap a very good deal. For the rest of us that kind of have a secret sauce to where one can get RAM sticks or NVMe SSD for cheap, I want to encourage you to go to the comment section. Let us know where you are currently sourcing your SSDs and RAM sticks for cheap. Perhaps you could just be that one person that's going to save the masses from these items that have become so expensive. Until I see you again in the next video, peace out.